Yeah.
Welcome to Fiery Discourse, your podcast and media featuring dragonesses, female dinosaurs, and other similar saurians and scalies. I'm your host, Ludmillanon, and with me are my co-hosts, Angron, LuckyEevee, Stryker, Mathmachine, and Jordan. Today is our 45th episode, and we're discussing the 1984 Superfriends, the legendary Superpowers show episode, Island of the Dinosoids. So, let's get things started.
Oh, yeah.
Now, so Superfriends was basically an attempt by Hanna-Barbera to create an action cartoon featuring the DC superheroes, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, etc.
And the result is they basically made Aquaman sucky.
Yeah, that too. They definitely did not help his image in that. But yeah, Superfriends lasted for an extremely long time. It basically ran for a decade, which for an action show back then was almost unheard of. And one thing that the show had a lot of was transformation in it, with entire episodes of it. There were episodes of them turning into circus animals, with like Wonder Woman becoming like a zebra, another one where she became like a space rhino, Wizard of Oz characters, and probably the weirdest one was, I kid you not, an episode where they did The Hobbit. And they actually did an episode where they did The Hobbit, and they all turned into hobbits, and it is just one of the weirdest things ever put to television, I think. But yeah, this episode in particular was one of the ones with transformation, and it was from the show's final season, believe it or not. And this episode basically begins with the bat plane flying overhead as Batman drives a scientist named Dr. Stein to a conference. And there's two interesting actors in this episode that I want to talk about for this time period. The first one was the announcer, who was played by Dick Tufeld, who also was the narrator for Walt Disney's anthology TV show, and more famously, he was the robot on Lost in Space. Danger, Will Robinson. That was him.
Nice.
Yeah, but also, in this season, Batman was voiced by none other than the legendary Adam West.
Nice.
So we finally get to hear the 1960s Batman reprise his role, and it really is such a joy to hear him again, even though he doesn't really get a lot to do in this episode. Just to hear Adam West as Batman, it's like nothing has changed. He slips back into the role so easily. It is amazing,
I grew up with the 1960s Batman. It was that. It's beautiful to hear his voice again, to be honest.
Yeah, and again, he was one of those guys who,
he
always had an appreciation for the character, it seems, Like, he knew it was, corny and cheesy and that, but he also gave it 110%, which is, again, part of the appeal.
He especially had fun in stuff like Family Guy and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
But here,
amped it up.
And even here, like, where he and some person are flying to a Japan expo, and, and out of the blue, a freaking pterodactyl just comes out of nowhere.
I was going to say that, It nearly crashes into the bat plane, and Batman has to land it on a nearby island. And one thing I will say...
I just love this scene in particular because it's like, oh no, there's a thing coming at us. Let's move out of the way. And just like moves up a few inches and just knocks into the freaking pterodactyl. Like, oh no, we tried our best, but then it's like...
Hey, a few inches by Hanna-Barbera standards is a whole lot of animation.
Yeah, it definitely is. And that leads me to another thing with this show, for me anyway. I feel like the human designs are really sometimes off-putting, like Batman and Robin and some other characters like Superman look all right, but other characters like, the normal human version of Wonder Woman, they just look so off to me, and I don't know why. It's like something like, I guess, that uncanniness to it. I don't know why. I always felt like Hanna-Barbera did better with comedy than with action because of that, because it just feels so stiff at times. And again, it's not their fault. It's also the fault of the television broadcast standards at the time. You couldn't even have like Batman or Superman throw a punch, God forbid. So
they had to. They had a censor with onomatopoeia.
That too. That's what the Batman. The Biff Pow stuff from the Batman 60s show.
The sound effects,
the sound effects, But so basically what happens is when they land on the island, the scientist attempts to use his communication device that can contact and reach anyone. but a T-Rex appears, which causes them to flee. And the dinosaurs here look very cartoonish, which, it works well, but it's somewhat strange when you compare it to like the realistic designs of the human beings in that. You think
this T-Rex looks kind of like Godzilla from the Hanna-Barbera thing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Good looking that out of your head.
Oh god, yeah. But yeah, basically what happens is Batman and the scientists hide in a cavern from the dinosaur, and we get probably one of the best parts of the episode when we get to hear Adam West say, "Unbelievable! A living Tyrannosaurus!" Which just getting to hear Adam West say that as Batman, that makes the episode worth it for me.
Yes.
If the rest of the episode was like the worst thing on television, at least we get to hear Adam West be so excited about seeing living dinosaurs.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and again, that's just part of the reason why he's just so amazing, because he can make a line as silly as that and actually make it sound like it's so awe-inspiring.
Yeah, he can make it sound like a genuine reaction.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
But what happens is that Dr. Stein attempts to use his machine again, but he and Batman are hit by a mysterious ray that freezes them into place. And we get to see Wonder Woman, Robin, Apache Chief, and apparently a guy called Ronald who
is basically just there and is also somewhat of a
person. He's a normal person. I don't know.
Telepath
the doctor,
as well.
The scientist that Batman was
he's his assistant, right?
Combined to form Firestorm.
Oh, I did not know that.
That was Firestorm? What?
Yes. I did not know that. I would not get that because I just saw this episode. Wow, okay, news to me. So that explains why he's so muscular. I had in my notes that why did they make this random guy so much more muscular than the superheroes? But I guess that answers it. But
because he actually is a superhero.
Yeah, now we learn new things now. So yeah, basically,
apparently, honestly, seeing Firestorm in the opening, I was like, oh, so he apparently was out a lot earlier than this. And then I hear that, and I'm like, half of Firestorm was in this, and we didn't even freaking know.
Right, right. But yeah, like I said, what's interesting, I did not know that, and yeah, that kind of ruins the joke I had planned for the podcast episode. But well, so anyway, what happens?
I honestly hear that, and I think this guy reminds me of like one of those lesser telepaths from Mob Psycho 100.
Oh God. I was going to say he was some random guy that they just got hitchhiking across, and they said, "Okay, let's bring you on a trip to this island." But yeah,
who's that one random dude?
Yeah, he's like some random guy. Yeah, exactly. But anyway, what happens is they're of course heading in Wonder Woman's invisible plane to the island, and Wonder Woman's a voice actress in this episode, and I'm not sure how she was for the rest of the season because she was changed from the other season of the show. She sounds very dry, like she's just kind of reading off of a script. I can tell that she's trying to give it life, but she just doesn't seem very into it, seems. Yeah. And it's definitely interesting because later on, when something happens to her, she puts a lot more energy into that.
Yeah, we'll get to that later.
But for now, she's actually kind of bland. The character of Apache Chief, when I saw him, I kind of cringed because I was like, oh God, what are they going to do with him? But yeah, I was really not that bad.
I was honestly surprised with this as well. Like, I half expected them to go like the route of everything in the 70s and be all just like, bunga, that sort of thing.
Yes, be very stereotypical, let's say, yes. But they avoided that, and I give them credit for that. I give them a lot of credit for that.
Yeah.
And also, Robin is sadly not voiced by Burt Ward, but he's voiced by Casey Kasem, who probably is best known for voicing Shaggy, and he pretty much did every single Hanna-Barbera show in the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
So he was my favorite character from Scooby-Doo. That's awesome.
Yep, he's Shaggy. Yeah. And he played Shaggy for a lot of his life too. You know, he stepped away from the role for a little while, apparently because he was upset having to do a fast food commercial. But he came back on the basically on the condition that Shaggy would become a vegetarian, and he got his way, and he voiced Shaggy for pretty much almost the rest of his life until Matthew Lillard replaced him.
Yeah, and until another Shaggy character comes in and voices him as well.
Yep. But yeah, basically what happens is the group land and they investigate Batman's crashed plane, and they wonder what could have made those strange tracks in the ground. And the thing that's interesting is the background work on this show varies from shot to shot. Like, one shot is a drawing of a jungle that looks incredibly realistic. Like, this is like a photograph they sketched. And then the next shot looks like something like it would be a children's drawing of some trees. It was so inconsistent, you know?
Yeah.
It definitely is something that... Show, huh? Yeah, it definitely is something that I feel like they didn't have a way of how to do it, basically. So what happens is that the group then see the T-Rex slowly approaching Robin. Apache Chief uses his powers of like a turning giant to easily defeat the monster. He throws it off a cliff, and because this was the 80s, there couldn't be any violence. So not even the dinosaur that was thrown off a cliff could get hurt. It lands in a bush, you know?
I'm sorry, no violence? Come on, man. Frickin' Transformers. Like, saying.
I'm talking Hanna-Barbera. Let's do it that way. In Hanna-Barbera of the time, they couldn't get away with that.
Okay.
And yeah, Transformers definitely was the same year as this, and I imagine kids that watched this going to watch Transformers and having their minds blown, because that really blew the door open for
it did.
television.
Yep.
And what they can get away with. But yeah, what happens is that a Triceratops then approaches them, and the mysterious ray from earlier freezes it again, and the ray is held by another scientist who brings them to his castle, which is surrounded by dinosaurs. And this scientist looks uncannily like Dr. Eggman. Like the mustache and the goggles and that. You know, I thought of that. You know, it's like, I'm going to use these dinosaurs and turn them into robots because I hate that hedgehog. Basically that kind of thing. Yeah.
Oh, God. Now I can't get
that would have been more interesting.
How dare you?
Yeah. And basically what happens is that the scientist is revealed to have created the dinosaurs with a genetic beam that basically turns animals into their dinosaur counterparts. And he showcases this by turning a vulture into another pterodactyl. And Apache Chief is basically the only one of the group that's absolutely disgusted by this. But the scientist basically refuses to listen to reason. And this brings me to one of the most unintentionally hilarious parts of this episode, which is going to be followed up by another one. But the first one is the scientist basically goes on a huge rant about how he will bring back the race of dinosaurs. And Ronald's response is basically, whatever makes you happy, Doc. It's like, it's so blasé and so normal. It's like the guy just did like a whole evil villain speech. And it's like, yeah, whatever. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, man,
you're
whatever.
Not concerned about this guy wanting to bring dinosaurs back, you know, turning other animals into dinosaurs and that. It's just like, yeah, whatever. But yeah.
We do not care.
Exactly. And then what happens is Robin then finds Dr. Stein's glasses, and Apache Chief decides to look in the foliage while the rest look in the fortress. And this leads to the second bit of unintentional comedy in the episode, because the group claim that, we've looked all over the place, but the animation only shows them walking down one hallway. It's like, it feels like they were like, we gotta find Batman and Dr. Stein, and I'm tired, let's go to bed.
Yeah, all right, that's lunch.
Let's go to bed, we're done here.
Yeah. It's like that John. It's like that JonTron line where it's like, I need to see no more shit.
Say more of this. How about?
For those that have never experienced 80s Hanna-Barbera, what they did to save money, instead of having to animate segue scenes, they just always did this star wipe between every single scene, and it's
like the Transformers logo.
They would just do it like, you think you'd do this for like a several hour advance? No, it could be like 3 seconds. They just didn't want to animate shit.
Yeah.
Wow. But yeah, like I said, Yeah, that really shows how cheap it was. And same thing with the walking animation. It feels like it's almost like on Flintstones where they would run, but it's the same background looped. It's almost the same trick done here with the hallway. Is that the joke is here this is meant to be taken seriously, so it seems even more out of place.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically what happens is Wonder Woman attempts to stop the scientist, but she spins her lasso so long that he traps her with a net. And the
it's like,
then
whoa, 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 whoa! Oh no! How can I put? Oh god!
it's
That
like
also reminds me of that
faster, you could have stopped him, but you
yeah.
didn't.
Oh man! It also reminds me of this one little tidbit that Wonder Woman used to have this weakness where like she was powerless against a male who was able to bind her. Which
Yeah, well, the reason behind that, there was a reason behind that. The guy who made Wonder Woman was into BDSM.
yeah,
It literally was a thing for him to satisfy his fetishes.
Yes.
I kid you not. Wonder Woman was partially made because this guy had a fetish, and now she's I love the whole thing. Oh, she's a icon of that. I mean, yeah, she was, but not by the author's intention. He intended her to be like, yeah, he was into like whole matriarchal societies and things like that, and
that's how it was for him. I mean, you can even tell with some of the cover art.
Yeah, he definitely had something he liked, and he took it all the way to the bank, basically.
Oh yeah, he did. Take it all the way to the bank. Oh god, that just reminded me of freaking the Stockholms, and also that in turn reminds me of this Opus comic where like there's this like bald guy with like a ponytail in the back talking with like one of the characters, Cool Joe, I think his name was, who are like who's like Cool Joe's talking about becoming a comic book character, and like he's talking with this guy, and then like one of his assistants, which is basically just a Wonder Woman lookalike, who hands him his pencil, and he's like, most of us in college never really got girlfriends, and it's just like makes me think that is the person who legit made Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, the guy who made Wonder Woman, just to end this little bit of a tiny tangent, he also he also helped invent the lie detector, believe it or not.
He did?
He helped on it, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, he actually helped work on it a little bit.
Okay.
Yep, so it's very interesting. But yeah, what happens is now we get to the good part because the scientist turns Wonder Woman into a dinosaur, and I gotta be honest with you, I think her as a dinosaur looks way better than her as her normal design. And that it actually doesn't look like some kind of horrific mannequin.
It reminds me a little bit of that one alien from Space Ghost where it's like...
Yeah. Like, I think they they probably reused the design, actually, to come to think of it in a little way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that it's a nice touch that she keeps her hair and outfit. And it doesn't change her look because she looks exactly the same as the other dinosaurs. But yeah, it also makes her look more feminine, if that's the right term.
Yeah, it kind of does make her a little more feminine.
And this is the part where her voice actress in this part is actually trying, because Wonder Woman as a dinosaur has a slightly scratchier and more gravelly voice. And it actually works well. It works well for the character in that. It shows that she's been transformed, and sadly, I do have bad news. We do not get to hear Adam West do a dinosaur voice.
No!
Can you imagine how legendary that would have been? If we could have had Adam West playing Batman as a dinosaur, that would have been the best thing ever. That would have made this a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, this would have made
show.
Yeah, this episode would have easily been one of the best episodes just by hearing Adam West do that.
Yeah.
Hey,
sadly, guys, I gotta hop off. I gotta do some important calls.
It's all good. It's all good.
Right,
it's all good.
good.
Okay, yeah, I'll see you next time. So yeah, what happens is Ronald and Robin basically make it over the wall by pole vaulting when they see the dinosaurs. And the funny thing is, after they make it over the wall of the castle and they run into the jungle, the dinosaurs just stand there and hiss. Like they're too lazy to stop them. Like, oh, we were too lazy to look for Batman, and now it's like, oh, we're too lazy to hunt you guys down. Sorry.
Yeah.
It really, And again, I know why they did because they only had 11 minutes, but I know trying to notice like the plot holes in that are really just out of place, but there's one thing too, I actually forgot to mention, I'm going to go back 1 second because I accidentally skipped this in my notes. There's a lot of animation errors in this show because 80s Hanna-Barbera, but I think one of the biggest animation errors is when they see the dinosaurs, Robin basically is talking, and Ronald's head just does like this weird twitch. Like it wobbles back and forth, like he was a bobblehead for like no reason. And it just looks so weird when you notice it. And it's like, why did they do that? It's like they couldn't have just had him stand still and it would have looked better. You know, it's something that I guess they wanted to indicate movement, but it just turned out so weird. And I think that to me is probably the weirdest animation error of this episode, which for 80s Hanna-Barbera, it doesn't have as many as you would think, believe it or not. It still has quite a bit, but it doesn't have as many animation errors, at least really egregious ones that we could point out, aside from like the weird backgrounds and that weird sort of head twitch. But anyway, finally getting back to the actual episode and the story, Apache Chief is busy searching through the jungle before he saves a man that drowns in quicksand. And the man turns out to be the... sorry, go ahead.
I hear you say the man drowns in quicksand, like Apache Chief. Oh no, too late.
Oh god. Well, Apache Chief is not late, and he saves the guy. And it turns out that he turns out to be the scientist's previous assistant who gives the backstory. And the backstory is that the scientist is basically testing out his machine, but he accidentally steps into the beam's path, which turns him into a dinosaid. And it's like, okay, that's the best you could have come up with for a backstory for this guy. It's like, oops, I stepped in front of the machine. Whoops.
Oopsie. It's like, oh man, I hear that. And it's like Donut from freaking Red versus Blue. Like, apparently setting fire to a lot of things. And all he can say is, whoopsie daisies.
Exactly. It is exactly like that.
Why is Lex Luthor evil? Well, Superman made me lose my hair.
Yeah, well, why is Dr. Doom evil?
I remember that. Oh, God.
Yeah, well, it's also like
Superboy that made him lose his hair.
Yeah. And it's kind of like also, why is Dr. Doom evil? Richards made me put my mask on before it was complete. I hate Richards.
No, it was more like he did it himself. Like he couldn't wait very, very long while Forge Masters were busy making the mask. He's just like,
yeah, but he blames Richards for it. Don't forget, and that's why he vows to destroy him. But man, comic books are weird. Yeah, I think if you get anything from listening to this episode, it's this: comic books and superheroes and supervillains. They're weird.
Yeah, they're very weird.
But yeah, basically what happens in the episode is Ronald and Robin appear, and they tell Apache Chief that the scientist is going to link up the genetic beam to Dr. Stein's device that'll apparently turn everybody into dinosaurs. And I like how Apache Chief just rips off the gate of the castle, and the group runs up to the lab instantly. It's here that we get the part with Wonder Woman stopping the group with her lasso, and it leads to a very funny animated GIF that I actually posted earlier. But yeah,
I saw.
I just love how overjoyed she is, basically. It's almost like she likes being a dinosaur, you know, which
it almost looks like she enjoys it a lot more than just being an Amazon,
which I can kind of see why. Yeah. But before the scientists can turn everyone in the room into dinosaurs, a Stegosaurus suddenly arrives in the room and frightens them away. Now, I will give him credit. This was kind of foreshadowed when Apache Chief ripped down the gate because the Stegosaurus followed them in. This didn't just come completely out of nowhere. And I give him credit for at least putting the basic amount of thought into that. Because really, Hanna-Barbera could have easily just had the Stegosaurus show up out of nowhere and no one would have questioned it. So that actually took some, even like the most minimal effort, and you got to give him credit for at least that.
Yeah.
So what happens is Apache Chief then, of course, captures both the dinosaurs and the Stegosaurus, and the next day the ray is reversed and all the animals and humans are returned back to normal. We get to hear more of Adam West finally, and I think he only had like 3 lines in this episode, which that is a tragic waste of Adam West right there.
That is a waste of perfectly good Adam West.
Yeah,
Indeed.
yeah. You know what they should have done? They should have had, when the dinosaurs were screaming, they should have had him go, "It's a shouting match you want, is it? I'm beating you!"
What was that from?
It's from Family Guy.
Perhaps the Noid should have learned to fear me.
Nobody messes with Dinosoid Adam Wee. Yeah. But yeah, the episode ends with a very lame joke where Ronald says that he's going to have to face his father from being out all night and that I'd rather fight a dinosaur, which, again, now that I know that he's Firestorm or, part of Firestorm, at first, when I saw this, I had no idea of that. This came like completely out of nowhere to me. This is like, who are you? Why are you here? What is your purpose? I thought that he was just some random guy that they took with them on the trip.
Yeah, me too. I thought he was like a weaker telepath that they just brought because they felt sorry for him.
Yeah, I didn't even think he was a member of the Super Friends. I thought he was just like, again, some random guy that they picked up.
It's like that one. It's like Serizawa from freaking. Not Serizawa. That's Godzilla. Whoever Sensei is from Mob Psycho 100. That's who I think he is.
You mean Reagan?
Reagan. I think so. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, it's Reagan.
I didn't know that. But yeah, this is the final season of Super Friends. And it lasted, again, for a really long time, like a decade. And they got some pretty big...
this is not the final season of Super Friends.
I thought it was.
Well, technically, yes, but there are 4 other seasons, each named differently for some weird reason. And it actually stops at the... Hold on, I have it pulled up here. Here it is. The world's greatest Super Friends. That is the final season.
I see. Huh. I wonder why they did that. Maybe it was for like ratings or something. That is weird. They would keep changing it. But yeah, apparently with Super Friends, they would get a lot of pretty predominant people to do voices aside from the usual Hanna-Barbera people. They had Ted Cassidy, a.k.a. Lurch from Addams Family, as Black Manta. And they had, of all people, Ernie Hudson as Cyborg. So that means we got Winston from Ghostbusters as Cyborg, which is awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah. It's honestly a shame they never got him for like Teen Titans or anything, because that would have been a really cool callback.
Actually, yeah, it would have.
They had him play like Cyborg's father or something. That would have been really cool.
That could have been awesome.
Yeah, like I said, basically what happened after Super Friends ended, I don't think we really got any DC cartoons until Batman the Animated Series, and this show is absolutely nothing like that. This show is on a whole nother level, but it has its charm. I will give it that. It's not the worst superhero cartoon. It's not as bad as stuff from like Filmation or even like the Marvel cartoons that was literally just still images, which is like the ultra cheap cartoon ever made, probably. It has its charm. It's not a good cartoon, probably, by any stretch of the imagination, but it is a fun one. And I gotta give it credit because it was a stepping stone in a way. It seemed, like I say, now we can look at it with hindsight and be like, oh, that's so stupid. How would stupid idiots like it? But looking at it with hindsight, it really does seem like they had a lot of fun with it, at least.
Oh, hell yeah.
At the very least, they knew what they were doing, and they just tried to make it a good time, and yeah, I think they succeeded with it.
Hell yeah, same here. Like, you get that a lot from the Hanna-Barbera stuff. Like, even some of their earliest works, they really did do their best to make it work, and for the most part, it has withstood the test of time in the most
definitely
interesting way possible.
Yeah, like I say, like Hanna-Barbera, I feel like, a lot of people like rag on them, but I feel like, again, they're way better than stuff like Filmation and that those guys like didn't even try, It's like at least people today still watch stuff like like
Yeah.
Super Friends and that. 9/10 of Filmation's cartoons are pretty much just forgotten, except for He-Man, and that's probably only remembered because Skeletor was so hysterical.
Skeletor was the best thing about He-Man. I will stand by that.
Was. Yeah, oh, he was. He definitely was. But now it is time for the question of the week, which is, what is your favorite superhero cartoon? And I know everyone's probably going to say Batman animated series, so in order to not start with that, I'm going to start by saying I really enjoyed the Justice League cartoons.
Same.
I feel like they were a really nice culmination of the DC animated universe. I feel like they got a lot of love for characters in that. They had an episode where they basically fought like parodies of the original Super Friends characters. Like they had a character who was supposed to be like Apache Chief. They had two characters who were supposed to be like the Wonder Twins in that. And I like what they tried to do with it. And I feel like as a whole, you could definitely feel it was a love letter to DC as a whole. It really seemed like something that they truly, again, cared about and they put a lot of effort into. And of course, the Batman and Superman stuff were always good, but I also liked when they gave characters like the Flash and them a really good time to shine.
Yeah, very.
I love the episode where Flash and Lex Luthor swap minds in that, and Lex Luthor was like, "Now I will know who the Flash is." He takes off his mask and then he goes, "I have no idea who this is."
Yeah, I also like the episode where like they gave Cheetah a little spotlight, and in fact, this hands down is the best Cheetah design. Like it's animalistic, it's curvy, it's everything.
Definitely, way better than whatever the hell they did in Wonder Woman 1984.
Yeah, go on ahead, Jordan, if you want.
Sorry.
My favorite, probably, I wish they had more animation of him, would be Constantine. Ever since they had the crossover with him and Lucifer in the DC live action stuff, I wish they would do more with this British actor and the actual guy who did Lucifer from the TV series. Have a lot more with him and those two together.
That's interesting. Nice.
Neat. That definitely could work out. Yeah.
Basically a DC character. He basically interacts with the the DC characters for any supernatural business. Like there's a couple on the shows like The Haunted House, which is basically Constantine's big house, or with the Justice League. He basically crossed over with them. You're like, oh, we need one person who can deal with the supernatural stuff. Is this fucker?
Oh, yeah. Constantine is a great character. And the Keanu Reeves movie isn't that bad either, to be honest.
Yeah. I gotta hop off, guys.
All right.
Later. See you again. Yep. But like I said, another one of my favorite superhero cartoons, and I know we just did an episode on it, is probably going to be Brave and the Bold, because I just love how it did the Silver Age, and it really, again, was a love letter to that era of Batman that I feel like a lot of nowadays, I feel like it's kind of getting the shaft, like that era, and I understand why, because, listen this way, you're not going to have the Batman, you're not going to have, like, Robert Pattinson fight, like, the Mad Hatter or Clock King or that, although that would be awesome.
Oh, that would be awesome.
I feel like it is a love letter to an era of Batman that I feel like doesn't get a lot of love, it seems. And of course, they had Adam West as the mayor, so that alone was a huge notch in his favor.
I really can't wait to see that episode.
Yeah, and I mean, it's always a benefit when they did that. But yeah, those are probably going to be my two answers. My favorite superhero cartoons is Justice League Unlimited, and Brave and the Bold. And of course, Batman the Animated Series, but I feel like everybody's going to mention that, so...
Oh, hell yeah.
It wouldn't be really much of a surprise. Yeah, we pretty much, all of us are going to say probably Batman the Animated Series is part of our favorite superhero cartoons. That is like saying the sky is blue, or like Gravity exists. But yeah, those are going to be my choices. So, Angron, what are your favorite live actions? Or what are your favorite superhero cartoons?
I will. Oh man, that is a tough one. Because hands down, I will actively say Batman: The Brave and the Bold is better than something like Teen Titans and whatnot. But I'm sorry. Like, when it comes to DC and cartoons, nothing. Absolutely nothing, in my opinion. Like, Batman: The Brave and the Bold can come close, but it will never top the Alan Burnett era of cartoons. Hands down. Justice League, Unlimited, Batman, Superman, Static Shock, and even the Zeta Project. an underrated, almost forgotten TV series. Like, hands down, are my favorite freaking collection of DC cartoons, period, that have so much charm, so much substance for the most part, and just, oh man, so much going for it. It has Mark Hamill as the Joker, it has Conroy as Batman, it has frickin' Bill Lamar as Static frickin' Shock. I could gush about these for millennia. They are that great. It has the best cheetah. It has the best Lobo. Good lord, I just love it when I hear his voice blow. It has the best Mix's Pitlick, hands down.
Gilbert Godfrey right away. I mean, that guy is, again,
yes.
That guy, a legend, absolute legend. And he was great in and everything he did. And of course, like you said, the voice cast was absolutely amazing.
Oh, yes, hands down. The voice cast works on so many levels and even has its fair share of transformations. I'm looking at Wonder Pig.
Fortunately, no Dragoness, but...
Oh, man, still, I will wax poetic about that series, about those series for ages, and it is...
Yeah, with good reason.
Yeah, for good reason, absolutely. It also has, in my opinion, one of the best tragic villains this side of Mr. Freeze, or even for the most part, like Clayface or something like that. Baby Doll, hands down.
Oh, right.
Like, yes, Baby Doll, hands down. It also has Selena Kyle transform into a cat, which is a bonus.
Yeah, that was a great episode too.
And also an entire office transformed into frickin' animals by Mix's Pitlick in Superman.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, back to the TF sort of thing. But yeah, that's gonna be my pick, hands down.
Oh, that's a great one. That really, really is a great pick right there. So, Stryker, what would you have to say is yours?
I was going to say Batman the Animated Series to joke around, but
we got the first.
No, after some thought, I remembered another good series.
Yeah,
Ultimate Spider-Man, actually.
Oh,
that yep, I haven't seen it. Is it any good?
It really was, actually. It was better than it's a lot better than most series, I can tell you that.
Oh yeah, even better than the original Spider-Man cartoon, not Spider-Man Friends, because reasons.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like,
nice.
They even had like Spider-Man pretty much mentor the Defenders, the Marvel team, the Defenders.
Oh, nice.
Like in this series, they were like up and coming superheroes. Like they had Power Man, they had Iron Fist, who was played by Greg Sipes, by the way.
Wait, who is Greg Sipes?
The guy who voiced Beast Boy.
Beast Boy, and of course, Michelangelo from 2012 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I'm sorry,
awesome.
What? What?
Yeah.
He played Mikey in Ninja Turtles 2012.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I remember that. Never mind.
It's all good.
You're fine.
Oh, man.
Anyway, yeah, my and another thing, of course, my a personal favorite, the fact that they had White Tiger appear for the first time in a cartoon.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, like she was kind of like she kind of ended up being one of my personal favorite superheroes.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean. Honestly, I hear White Tiger and I think of that one cat superhero from the Justice Friends.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Oh, god. Yeah.
That's like a combination. That's basically WB's answer to the Avengers, sort of.
Oh my gosh.
And also, oh man,
oh god, that was hilarious.
Oh god, I was half tempted to put that at the top, but then the Alan Burnett came up, and I'm like, no going back.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is with White Tiger is that after Disney acquired Marvel, they kind of had this whole like thing with that they didn't want to use the True Fear
Really?
the True Fear story arc in any Marvel media.
Huh.
And that
What was
sort
True
of,
Fear all about?
it was this sort of like horror part of Marvel, but for some reason it just ended up they ended up not wanting to do it for some reason. I'm guessing it's because Disney not wanting to do horror.
Cop out. I mean, honestly, Disney's Return to Oz and Something Wicked This Way comes. Just come on, man. Those two alone.
Yeah. Wow.
Should.
Wow.
They
that is
just,
surprising.
Yeah, but for some reason they just didn't want to do that in the MCU for some reason. I kind of ended up being a little upset when they decided not to, and that meant that my favorite character from the Ultimate Spider-Man would not appear in the MCU.
Again, cop out.
Definitely.
It
definitely.
is. At least we got her animated.
At least there's that. At least there's
that's
that.
interesting. Yeah.
And one thing I will say that I found very interesting was the fact that Spider-Man was played by Drake Bell.
Who is he?
Drake from Drake and Josh, and don't look up other stuff about him because
do not.
You really don't want to.
Oh,
but
man.
he was he was in Drake and Josh, but he was also have you ever seen Superhero Movie?
Oh yeah, he was in that. That was I remember him in that.
Have not.
He played a parody of Spider-Man.
Yeah, it basically was. It was done by the guys who did Scary Movie, but they spoofed superhero movies. It's okay. It's not the worst of those kind of movies.
That makes sense. Also, it reminds me of freaking. Oh god. Never mind. I hear Drake and Josh, and I think of that. I think at the time they both did a Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver commercial. Yeah. That's where I know him the most from.
Oh wait, Drake Bell also played Timmy Turner in the live-action Fairly Odd Parents movies.
Oof.
He what?
Ouch! Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that was where. Oof.
Oh god! Wait. Oh no! I know what you're talking about with Drake and Josh. Oh gosh, Drake and Josh. They're like. There's like this one thing that will remain forever ingrained in my mind when I hear Drake and Josh. It's them doing ping pong, but it's like to Wii tennis, Wii table tennis. It's just hilarious. I need to show you that.
There's also the fucking Game Sphere meme.
Oh god,
it's spherical.
Oh god.
Oh yeah. So those are really good choices. Yep.
Yeah, that's my pick.
Okay, Stryker, Math rather. What would you have to say?
All right. So to justify my pick, I'm going to explain this first. So Batman is obviously a superhero. He has no superpowers. He just has gadgets and his wits, and he fights villains. But he is still a superhero. So with that justification in mind, Kim Possible.
That makes sense.
Oh yeah, I liked that show too.
Counts.
With that technicality, we also got stuff like Mega Man. We got there are a lot of other hero shows that I can think of right now. My Hero Academia, Mega Man.
Kim Possible was just such a great series.
Oh, it's a great show.
Really
I never would have thought of that as superhero, but go ahead. Yeah.
It was really smart. It was really creative. Just great characters, voice actors. Probably the single best sidekick ever made in Ron Stoppable.
Oh yeah,
yes.
The best boy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Batman Beyond was also part of the Alan Burnett universe. Extra bonus.
Right.
Yes. Fuck yeah.
Just the way they did Kim Possible, and they knew when to end it and how to end it. It was just fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Definitely. And it's a
Yeah.
show that I'm glad that they ended it when they did. It's like they knew when to bow out, and they actually got more than 65 episodes because of fan demand, which that never happens, or at least it never happened back then. It's like
Yeah, it was
when
originally
Not really
you
with
got
Disney,
65, you were
actually.
done. Yeah.
It was
Not
originally supposed
normally
to
with
end with the
Disney.
movie, and
Yeah.
fan demand was that they wanted another season with Ron and Kim as a couple to get their final year of high school out, and so they actually brought it back.
Nice. That is
Nice.
good.
But yeah,
Yep.
that is an excellent idea, you know.
Oh hell yeah, that is an excellent idea. It's a brilliant freaking thought.
Yep. So, and LuckyEevee, what would you have to say is your favorite superhero cartoon?
Honestly, not sure.
Mm,
Never really watched any of them.
So good.
interesting.
So, yep. Now it is time for the Dragoness Scale, where we rank the Dragoness and Dinosoid Wonder Woman. This is an interesting one because, for me personally, I like her design way more than her normal design. I like the voice. I kind of like that. Again, they kept her original design while still making her reptilian is a nice touch. But I don't know. I feel like for a one, if the transformation had a little more bite to it, rather than just like a kind of a transformation where she just glows a bit and then she turns into a dinosaur. I feel like, but again, they couldn't have gone too elaborate because they added an 11-minute time slot, and this clearly was like rushed out to get it done with. So they weren't going to do a more complex transformation. But I still think a little bit more complex one would have been nice to see. But despite that, I like the fact that the voice actress actually gave her a different voice. That shows a lot of bit of ingenuity there. And yeah, I just feel, again, it's an 11-minute short, so she doesn't get too much time to shine. But she does do a lot more than Batman does. So
Yeah.
that is something to be mentioned here.
Oh
So
hell yeah.
I'm going to give her I want to give her an 8. I really do, but I don't think I can go any higher than a 7 out of 10 for a Dinosaur Wonder Woman.
I'm gonna give her a 7 as well because the design, it pretty much screams freaking Hanna-Barbera, and it very much screams like 60s, 70s, and 80s DC. And it's a charm that I can ultimately get behind. And she does, like you say, do a lot. But the design, for the most part, feels a little too humanoid for the most part. It feels less dino and honestly more like person in like a weird costume, which I get. But yeah, that factor alone is what holds it down at 7 for me. It's not bad, and it certainly could be a whole lot worse. Hi, Marvel. But yeah, that's my pick.
Yep, that is all good reasons. Stryker?
So I think I might have to agree. A 7. I'm gonna have to watch the episode later because I completely forgot.
It's all good. Math, what would you have to give her?
I'm actually gonna be the odd man out here and gonna go a bit lower.
Yeah.
I did not like the design too much. It looks like it fits more in Space Ghost or the Herculoids. There's
Yeah,
your
I can
deep
see
cut
that.
Hanna-Barbera lore. It feels out of place here, and it's too simplistic and just does not look like it fits for Wonder Woman. Having said that, I do really appreciate that the voice actress, who is predominantly a theater actress, put in effort to differentiate between Wonder Woman and this character, and it was interesting, if nothing else. But I just got to give it a 5.
Wow.
Oof.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I understand why. It's nothing out of the ordinary with it. And Evie, what would you have to give her?
I can't find a great image of her.
How about the picture I posted? The one
the chat.
in the chat right up here.
Hold on. Let me look.
in the designated chatting section.
Yeah, it's wait, what I guess I remember.
Mm.
It looks more like a weird turtle thing, honestly.
I mean, you're not
A little
wrong.
bit.
I mean, you're not wrong. So, what would you give it just based on that picture? I know it's not really a way to rank it, but
Points stocked up for looking like a weird turtle.
so what would you give it?
5.
All right, so good. And okay, and that is going to be it for this week. If you have any questions, or if you want to send us your impression of '60s Batman as a dinosaur, you can feel free to email us at fierydiscourse@outlook.com or visit us at Twitter at twitter.com/fierydiscourse. Next time, we'll be talking about the 2018 Russian animated movie Enchanted Princess. That is definitely going to be an interesting time because it's a weird one. Like Sword and the Dragon was definitely an odd movie. That looks like a standard film noir compared to the insanity that Enchanted Princess is going to give us. So it's definitely going to be a very interesting episode to talk about, and we'll talk about that next week. And until then, thank you guys so much for watching, and take care.
Laters.
Later.
Adios.